Hey guys, Mr. George Rubis here, back with another build video. Today we are checking out Keelan for the first Ascendant. He kind of got some new buffs, had a lot of fun. I'm showcasing the sword version of him, but I do have a screenshot of the toe version if that's what you're more interested in. Both are really good. I was just having better results with the sword build, and I kind of felt like it was more fun, even though it's kind of similar to some of the other sword gameplay builds, but we'll check it out right here. All right, before we get started, I want to make sure we all understand how the Septic Torrent mod works for Keelan. I think it's the less popular of the 4 transcendent mods for him, but with all my testings, this was the most well-rounded mod for terms of damage and ad clear at the same time, and helping out with the boss at the end. It does require the use of a melee weapon. So first, let's go over what it changes. It changes his 1, which is Hunt, 3, which is now Septic Torrent, his 4, Tremor, and then your passive. The negatives that Septic Torrent does is it guts his passive ability. He will only be able to get 5 stacks of acidic decay, which is important because that's his continuous damage skill, and his 4 scales off of that. It changes his 1 to a melee effect. That's not very good. It's kind of slow. It's not worth using, so we're just going to pretend that's not part of it. Same issue with his 4 Tremor. If you're not sure how it works, is you're supposed to build up stacks of acidic decay and then detonate it, and it causes like the enemies to explode, dealing some really good damage, but you only can get 5 stacks of this with this build. I don't know why they did that. It's slow. It's not worth the time. You're better off just to keep swinging your sword. And it also no longer refunds you stacks of onslaught. So I'm not really sure the purpose of that or why they felt like they needed to do that, but that's what they did. Now, the positives is onslaught still onslaught. If you don't know how this works, you kind of just dash forward, you go through enemies. The more enemies you hit, the more refund time you get. You get a max tax of 5. This does pretty good damage now, to be honest with you. You can increase its range by 250. We want as much of that as possible. The big bread and butter for the build, though, is his new 3 ability. This creates a toxic ring around him that's very similar to Harris's 3rd ability. The benefit of this, though, is while somebody's in the ring and you hit them with a melee weapon, it does bonus damage. It also has a 50% chance to take 10 seconds off your onslaught stack. This has its own cooldown. If you see there, mine's at 0.8 seconds. You can get that lower, and the lower it is, the better it is for refunds on your 2. Through some extensive testing, this does not affect the damage, though. That bottom cooldown stat, that 50% trigger rate, does not do anything for the additional melee attack, and that's very important. All right, to show you guys what this is going to look like in game, you're going to get your special resource built up. Easy way to do that, melee attacks will now build it up with this mod, and using your 2 or even your 1, which is really bad, will do it. And then you want to activate your 3 to get your little damage ring. From this point, all your attacks are going to be doing additional hits. It's going to be refunding your 2 ability about half the time. So you can just keep the assault going. You can even spam it. I know these enemies aren't dying, but I should have gameplay on the screen showing you this working effectively in the middle of some of the hardest dungeons in the game. All right, looking at the mod setup, as always, I'm going to show you guys a non-ancestor mod version of this first, and then we'll dive into what I think a good ancestor mod would be for this build. So first and foremost, power increase, focus on singular, toxic amplification, singular amplification. Power increase is a different damage bucket, so it's really good. You can put focus on toxic if you want. This will give you a little bit more cooldown if you want to go that direction, which will help out your 3 a little bit. What you really care about on the cooldown for your 3 is making sure that your cooldown is less than your duration. So it's at base 35 seconds. You want to make sure it's less than 15 seconds. Other than that, you can kind of do what you want with it. But less cooldown means it's going to be refunding you stacks of onslaught a little bit faster. So cooldown's still important, but I felt like with this build, I have like the perfect amount of cooldown already. So with that being said, MP conversion, nimble fingers. He does not have MP, so this skill is free. It's just the skill cooldown and skill cooldown, so that's a given. I run skill expansion. I run maximize range. I run stem accelerant because again, he doesn't have MP, so this is just pure max HP. And then for a damage mod, we're actually going to run infection amplifier. This pairs with our trigger mod, infected weapon. The bottom half of this mod does not trigger. We don't have the unique weapon, but you do get the top benefit which is when attacking with continuous damage type skills. It inflicts Arche Infection, which Arche Infection does bonus damage every second for 5 seconds. And on top of that, you're also getting the Infection Amplifier, which is an extra attack at a 30% chance based off your skill power. So this is really, really good. This is an excellent combination of Keelan. I couldn't find something better. I don't know if this was intentional, but this is amazing. If you're curious about the version that I use, this is what I use for the majority of the time. My Ancestor mod looks like this. I don't know if you've noticed, but the big problem with it is that additional skill cooldown. I truly hate that that is there. It really hurts this build and you can feel it, but I love the increased range and I love the toxic and singular skill power boost ratio increase, specifically the singular skill power boost. That's actually a bit more significant than the toxic skill power boost. If you don't know how the damage buckets work in this game, that's pretty huge. I would suggest you get something similar to this without the positive, or I guess the negative increase in skill cooldown. That actually does hurt. It's almost a max negative on top of that, which is just insult to injury, but this is the best I got right now. That is what I would shoot for. Looking at some tools that we're going to be using, I use a Toxic Singular Reactor with Singular Skill Power Boost Ratio and Toxic Skill Power Boost Ratio. If you want to make it feel a little bit more comfortable till you're like used to it, or maybe you just don't feel comfortable not running the skill cooldown, you can drop the Toxic Skill Power Ratio for skill cooldown. That is what I would do. This is just what I've been using. This is what I've been practicing with. This is what I prefer, but I totally respect and understand wanting the skill cooldown instead. All right, for the components, we actually have 2 options here. It's really up to you which you'd rather use. I was preferring the mana set. This does extra sword damage. Just keep swinging your sword. You're going to be doing more damage. For bossing, I was doing much better damage using the mana set. For ad clear, if you want to lean more into that, the plague set is actually made for Keelan. If you don't know what this does, is it gives you some boost ratio, which keep in mind boost ratio is significant damage. Okay, if it just says modifier, that's whatever, but if it says boost ratio, that's really good. So not only does this boost his singular skill power when you acquire custom resources, which is what you're doing the entire time, and it does work if your custom resource is maxed out, you get even more toxic skill power boost ratio on top of that. So this is for skill power. This is really, really good. The big reason why we use power increase too in our builds. On my mana set, I was too lazy to go and farm a more optimal substats on that set. But if you want to run Keelan, you're going to run something like max HP and defense on your cores, and then you want from top down, you want fire resistance, max HP. You don't want anything MP recovery. You do want the defense though. Shield recovery in combat's really good. Max shield, some resistances, anything that's not MP related, you're gonna want on your substats, because MP stuff is wasted because he doesn't have any MP. All right, now looking at the weapon, you really have 2 options. You can use Shadow or you can use Crime and Punishment. Both work really well. I just kind of committed to Shadow because I think it fits his play style, kind of as he's intended to play. It's also toxic, just like him. Crime and Punishment, amazing setup though. Like, you can still use Crime and Punishment, especially if something's weak to fire damage. Really good choice. Now, my Shadow build that I use in the gameplay that you're seeing is, well, here's my cores: melee weapon attack, toxic attack, attack chance, attack damage, additional attack damage. And then on my substats, I got melee attack, melee toxic attack, additional attack damage, and additional attack chance. And for the mod setup, this is what I use 90% of the time. Sometimes I might switch 1 or 2 things out. I'm not going to go super in depth with it, but exquisite sword, brawl, toxic edge, faster attack speed, sweep, slaughterer, toxic enhancement, double edge extinction, increased range, and toxic conductor. They have added some new mods revolving around guarding, and I do use guarding, but I failed to be successful in getting a better DPS while using those, so I've just been sticking with this. Looking at his arcade board, I want to clarify something. This is changing here in a couple days with the new update. I don't know what that's going to look like, but just keep in mind some of these are going to be shifted around a little bit. I believe they're just switching out the useless things for Keelan, like these MP increases, for something useful. I don't know what they're switching them to. So if you're looking at two different things, that's going to be why. So getting into it, I go straight to the right. We don't care about the skill cost. We do like the skill range. We like the skill power. Those are all things that we want. We're going to go up the middle on the right-hand side for the skill power. Again, we don't care about the NPs. These might not be NPs for you anymore. We go for the skill cooldown. This is actually nice because it helps out with our 3 ability triggering more often. And then we go to the top right, and then we go up all the way to Toxic Chain Catalyst. When you hit enemies with skills, this will reduce their toxic resistance based off of your toxic skill power boost ratio, which we are investing a lot in right now. So I couldn't find anything better for it. This is a really good slot for it. So, all right, inversion reinforcement. So keep in mind, depending on when you're watching this might not be the exact setup, but try to look for like things if you're not sure what to do here. So first one that I go for, adrenaline surge. This is movement speed when you hit an enemy with a skill, which you're gonna be doing the entire time. It does have a cooldown, but those nice little bursts of energy are always, super handy. If you don't want to use that, you can also use Arche circulation tactic. This, when you hit enemy with a skill, gives you skill cooldown. This is actually really nice when you first enter the fight. I feel like the 25-second cooldown on it is a bit punishing and inconsistent, so I just personally choose run adrenaline surge. Second row, you are going to want instant acceleration protocol. What this does is it increases your melee speed when you're hitting somebody with an additional attack, which is what Shadow does the entire time. And then finally, and this should change on the season, on melee weapon hit, you do extra melee attack up to 10 stacks. Like, hard to do better than that when you're using a melee build, so that's really solid. If you're looking for a fierce attack, which is the toe ability build, I'm not going to go super deep into it, but here's a basic schematic of it. This is what I'd start with. You want as much cooldown and range as possible. I think this is the more popular option, but I really don't think it's the better option. I think it just feels a bit better, a little easier to use, and you don't use a melee weapon with it. So I think people like the pure skill side of it. But that's this if you guys want a screenshot of it. All right, guys, that covers everything. I do want to share a couple thoughts though with you, just in case you're looking at this and having some questions. You might be thinking, oh, that transcendent mod is not the best bossing mod. You're right, not. And you might be thinking it's not the best mobbing mod. And again, you are correct. It is not. From my testing, those two statements are completely true. But I think overall, especially in these new dungeons, it is the best if you want to handle the content efficiently from start to finish and get the fastest times. I believe in the gameplay I have going on, I got all these dungeons done solo in 5 minutes or less. That's really good. That's really good, especially compared to some other Descendants. So if you guys found any of this useful, informative, or if you have anything you want to share with me, feel free to comment below. If you want to help me out, like the video, consider subscribing to the channel to help growth and pushing this video a bit more. I do appreciate everybody. I plan on getting some more content out a little bit faster. Some stuff on my schedule's changed around, so I should be able to get more things out. If there's anything you guys want to see, feel free to comment below. I do plan on tackling Harris once Onslaught mode's coming out, because she's supposed to be getting some buffs. So I'm very excited for that. I hope to see you guys all next time, and I hope this video helps you out.